If you're going through a family law divorce and you're emotional, you may want to hear this. Remember, in a family law divorce, emotions do not get results. In court, the law rules. Remember, your spouse is strategizing on how to properly present arguments in order to get what they want and need out of this divorce. No crying, screaming, or expecting someone to address your emotional needs versus respecting what's going on in the court process. You're not going to have healthy experience in family court. The goal is not to allow your emotions to take over. The goal is to get good legal counsel that can help you not only manage your emotions, but also strategize on how to best help you move forward in your divorce. Contact Campbell Law. Hello, I'm attorney Dr. Chantasia Campbell, Esquire. Let's get started. First question, stay for the kids or leave? Listen, if you're considering a divorce, this is the time to stop trying to please everyone. You have to make a decision. Is it going to be your minor children, or is it going to be an adult who can fend for themselves? At the end of the day, while we understand that broken families can create broken children, also remember that staying does not guarantee that you're going to have successful children. Throughout my consultations, a lot of mothers ask me, I'm worried. What if my kids think that I am the one that broke up the family? And I tell them, this is nothing to worry about. 99% of my clients who have children have always reported that after a divorce that's well planned and well managed, the children would then ask the parents, what took you so long to leave? Your children see the same things you do. They see that you're unhappy. They see that you're miserable. They see that you guys are no longer sleeping in the same rooms. They see that you guys are no longer even enjoying each other's company. One works at night, one works in the morning, and you're two ships passing in the night. And if that is you, that is not something that you want your children to think is a healthy relationship. It's not. Don't keep up appearances. Make a decision. Who are you going to protect? Is it going to be your children or your spouse? Question number 2. The court is requesting a drug test. Do I have to take it? This is a great question, especially considering the new laws surrounding cannabis as well as microdosing with mushrooms. If in your family case, the other party requests a drug test, you have several options. One, I would say this is a very fact-specific request. This is not a request that's made for everyone, right? If you have a history of drug abuse or misuse, especially in the presence of the child, your drug habits can become an issue in court. If you are presented with a request for a drug test, prior to the matter being presented to the judge, you're going to have an opportunity to just agree, right? Say, hey, I have nothing to hide here. I'll go ahead and take the drug test. And matter of fact, if I pass it, how about you guys pay for it, right? No harm, no foul. That is an option. Remember, as your family law case is going on, time is ticking, right? This is continuous time that you're losing with your children. So to argue about a drug test that you know you're going to pass, you're wasting time, right? Now, let's say, for instance, you believe that you may not be on the right side of that drug test. Remember, you may have a medical waiver that allows you to medicate with, let's say, cannabis. That type of information is important to share with your attorney if, in fact, a motion for or a request for a drug test comes up. I would suggest that if you are presented with a request for a drug test, that you contact an attorney and determine what are your legal rights. Campbell Law can help you with this. Third question. Is it appropriate to ask for my lease in family law cases? In family law cases, both parties are required to participate in what's known as mandatory financial disclosures. That includes proving your income as well as all your debts, your assets, health insurance, any type of credit reports you ran, and things of that nature. However, my mandatory disclosures do not include actual copies of a recent lease. If a party is requesting to know your current address, then you should simply supply the address. To ask for a lease, in my opinion, feels a little bit overburdensome and really invasion of privacy. Contact an attorney. Do not always comply with what the other party requests. Remember, the other party can ask for what they want. That doesn't mean they're going to get it. Question number 4. If you own a business, is your spouse entitled to it or just the income it generates? This is a great question for high earning couples. If a couple, let's say, owns a business together and that business was started during the marriage, then simply that business is marital property. However, let's say, for instance, that you started this business before marriage. It continued throughout the duration of the marriage, and now you're being faced with a divorce. At this point, the question becomes, what is my spouse entitled to regarding my business income? And I would tell you that this is a very fact-specific question. It depends on how your business is set up, how you are in fact compensating yourself, whether there's commingling with the business bank account as well as your personal expenses. And so this is why it's very important to contact an attorney when you're setting up a business as well as when you're getting a divorce. Finances are a big deal in divorces. It can make or break your case. Contact Campbell Law so you can have a clear strategy on how to protect your business in a family law divorce. Question number 5. Can your spouse claim a business you started before the marriage? This is a tricky question. Remember, with businesses, it depends on when the business started, as well as how that business is structured and how you have been operating that business. Whether you've been operating that business as a separate entity. And so the question is whether or not your spouse can claim a business or claim entitlement, right, to a half in Florida of that business. And the answer is yes. Your spouse can claim anything they want in a divorce. That does not mean they're going to get it. Remember, you have to prove that this is marital property and that the money derived by this business should be considered marital property and therefore subject to equitable distribution in Florida. Contact an attorney now. Campbell Law is ready and willing to take your case. Question number 6. I own a business. How do I protect it in a family law divorce? This is a great question for high earning individuals. Remember, when you have a business, it's very important on how you structure that business. Remember, it's also important how you perform or run that business. Always, always separate yourself from your business. You want to pay yourself separately. You want to keep your personal expenses separate and pay them out of a personal business account. And you want to keep a record of all your expenses. When going through a divorce, you're going to have to participate in what's known as mandatory financial disclosures. This is going to require you to provide a lot of financial documents in a short amount of time. Contact Campbell Law to help you navigate your divorce or family law case. Question number 7. Can crypto be hidden during a divorce, and how would anyone find it? In family law cases in Florida, both parties are required to participate in what's known as mandatory financial disclosures. That includes proving your income as well as your debts, all your assets, liabilities, insurance, as well as any expenses you may have for the children or yourself. Another part of mandatory disclosures that I've recently seen is requests for cryptocurrency as well as Bitcoin. If you own these types of currency, definitely you want to comply. However, the question is whether or not these assets can be hidden. And of course, if there's no knowledge that your spouse owns them, right, then we don't know to even request those types of documents. However, you have an option to hire what's called a forensic accountant, someone that can help you find out if someone actually owns Bitcoin or cryptocurrency through their financial records. Contact Campbell Law to help you navigate your family law case.